Hello world, my name is Israel. This video will give an overview of the first categories mentioned in Aristotle's text, categories. Typically these are rendered as two categories, although the second category is mentioned more often than the first. Quite striking in this text is that the first three paragraphs are unrelated to the two standard categories, but they are themselves categories explicitly. I found a nice formalization. So we have objects are things, signifiers of things, signifiers of signifiers of things, etc. Aristotle's language furnishes a natural bijection, so things correspond to the objects of mental experience. Signifiers of things correspond to speech. Signifiers of things correspond to writing, etc. So these are our basic objects. The morphisms are signification. Thus, the notation as A morphism B, if and only if B signifies A. We can see easily that the principles of category, or the axioms of category, follow at once from our intuitions. Associativity is self-evident. Identity is self-evident, insofar as a thing is a signifier of itself. And transitivity is clear. For if B signifies A and C signifies B, then C signifies A. For example, in Aristotle's vocabulary, writing is a signifier of the objects of mental experience, given that it is a signifier of speech, which in turn is a signifier of objects of mental experience. So we have a category explicitly, something like a category of signifiers and their signification. The first three paragraphs of the text of categories then give three subcategories of this category. These are the subcategories of homonyms, synonyms, paronyms, or subcategories of homonymy, synonymy, paronymy. So if you look at the diagram, the first diagram I've given here, one can observe morphisms going towards the variable b and heading away from the variable b. There are two other possibilities here. One may have morphisms heading towards the variable b and morphisms heading away from the variable b. These correspond to our first two subcategories of homonymy and synonymy, respectively. So in the subcategory of homonymy, we have the same signifier b for distinct objects A and C. This category is useful to the sophist, as we find in the text of rhetoric. Again, if we have distinct objects A and C, which signify the same object B, then we have the subcategory of synonymy. This subcategory is useful to the poet, again as we find in the text of rhetoric. And lastly, we have the subcategory of paronymy. This subcategory is interesting in that it furnishes a quotient with respect to an initial object A, with signifiers or signification into a collection of objects AI, indexed by some I and I. So the quote here that determines this quotient are things are paronymous when they get their name from something with a difference of ending. So each of the objects, AI, AJ, AK, etc., get their name from some object A, and they differ in their ending. I've also rendered this as we determine the quotient by similarity qua genealogy, derived from a sharing of names, and difference qua ending, or grammatical ending of names. The examples given in the text are: grammarian is derived from grammar, and bravery is derived from brave.